Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
This is Trey Lance right now in the car, driving up to Santa Clara. You can't break my soul. You can't break my soul. Oh, it's Trey Lance moving. Jimmy Garoppolo.
I hope Trey Lance has a little more rhythm than that.
He probably does. Trey Lance right now. You can't break his soul. He's still the damn starting quarterback
I just
of the
quit
49ers.
my job. I'm like, Beyonce, you didn't quit a job. You haven't had to quit a job. I was just watching a video of Beyonce on Letterman talking about breaking up with Destiny's Child when she was like 23 or 24 years old.
Dude,
come on, man.
That album slaps, man.
Oh, it's great.
It's a great album.
It's just when I hear that song and she said, I just quit my job. I'm like, no, you didn't. How dare you? Even though she's speaking for the masses. Yeah. She's not speaking for Beyonce.
It's a lot. Don't quit a job if you don't have another job.
No.
That's my advice today. Don't do that.
That's all it does is it incentivizes people to quit their jobs. Like, don't quit your job.
Don't do that. But you can't break Trey Lance's soul.
No, you cannot.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it at all. He's going to be all right. But Peter King joined Damon and Ratto yesterday. We're going to talk to Phil Simms in 10 minutes. We're going to get his thoughts on this. Then we'll take some phone calls. 888-957-9570. That's the Comcast business text line. I see all your texts coming through YouTube and Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch. Don't forget about the Odyssey app as well. Download that bad boy. All the sports talk, music, podcasts are available completely free. And you can catch every single Warriors game live on the app along with all the music and news the Bay Area needs. Follow your favorite teams, station, radio shows, and podcasts now by downloading the free Odyssey app. Phil Simms again in 10 minutes. Former Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback two times. He's going to join us and get his thoughts. And we know Uncle Phil comes on here and brings the heat.
Yep.
Man, how many people have Bonte on their cue cards? Well, I have a lot of people on the cue. The cue card, I actually need a new pack of cue cards. Because ever since Jimmy Garoppolo restructured his deal to come back to the 49ers Tuesday, a lot of people were counting Trey Lance out. I'm seeing a lot of people jump off the Trey Lance bandwagon, and I'm still riding with 5.
Do you need a new stack of cue cards because of that, or because you lost the other one and you need to create a new one?
No, I need more. There's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of Trey haters saying it's an indictment on Trey Lance and Michael Silver. Before we get to Peter King, I'm gonna play this one. Here it is. The reason the 49ers, via the San Francisco Chronicle, are hedging their bets is because they're worried about Trey Lance. For all his promise, he won't be good enough to get their built-to-win-now team to its only acceptable destination, with York hoisting the franchise's 6th Lombardi trophy. Come on, man. Here's what Peter King had to say about the way Trey Lance might be feeling at the moment.
If you were to say to me what concerns you most about this, and I don't care how nice and genial and welcoming and, hey, this is going to be great that Trey Lance is saying or he said to Kyle Shanahan or whatever, seriously, how would you feel right now if you were Trey Lance? It's easy to sit here and say, oh, my God, this is going to be great. It's going to be just like last year. How possibly deep down could he feel that way? He's got to feel, to some degree, like they don't really have faith in me, and they got to backstop me with the guy who brought us to the playoffs last year.
Interesting. And he followed up with this on Trey Lance.
We're talking human nature, and we're talking about a situation where, if you think about it, they handed you this job early in the offseason. The team is yours. It's all yours. And then after the preseason, they do something that no one thought was possible. And I don't think really they thought was going to be very possible either. They bring the starter back. And again, I understand exactly what you're saying. This is the way the guys should think. This is the way team guys should think and do think. And I get it. All I'm saying is that I would be surprised if Trey Lance doesn't have some feeling of, they doubt me a little bit here.
And if they do, maybe he does. But I think Trey's ready for this. Trey's built for this.
None of us are going to know really what Trey Lance is thinking. None of us are going to know. Only Trey Lance is going to know. He's not going to tell the media. He's not going to tell Kyle Shanahan. He's not going to tell John Lynch. He's not going to tell Jimmy G. Maybe he does. But the question is, does that show on the field? I don't think it's going to show on the field. You know, like how many times have we truly seen that? I'm curious to see what happens in Tennessee. Like with Tennessee, what happened with Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill, and Tannehill saying that, look, it's not my job to mentor this dude. Like there could be something there to read into it, but with this, like, it doesn't seem like there's anything that Trey Lance, there's no problem that Trey Lance seems to have with Jimmy as the backup. My only question is with Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy's got $14.5 million in incentives. I'm sure that dude is itching to get on the field to be the starting quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy's out there, possibly, thinking, hey, Trey, I mean, if you don't pan out this season, they're going to bring me in and I can make a little extra money.
Jimmy's
when money's
a competitor.
On the line,
Jimmy's a competitor.
For sure.
And I think we're underestimating that. Jimmy is a competitor.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about him. He is a competitor. All these dudes want to play. Now, they root for each other to have success. That's for sure. These dudes want to play. Like, Jimmy's not on the sideline saying, man, I hope Trey Lance throws 5 picks today. He doesn't want him to go through that. He doesn't. Nobody's rooting for that. Not on that team. Maybe some fans are. Maybe some media members. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But nobody on that team is rooting against each other. With that said, Jimmy wants to play. And Trey Lance is going to have to ball out. He is. And I believe he can ball out.
Trey already getting a dose of the Twitter, social media, hairstylists that are out there. Did you see that during his press conference? The video that was posted?
I'm not going to get into that.
The dude has helmet hair, and everyone's talking about his hair. It's like, welcome to the NFL, Trey Lance. This is what happens when you're speaking. People just have to comment because they're insecure about themselves and just have to insult somebody because it'll make them feel better.
Well, listen, I'm very secure. I'm very secure.
Right.
But there is a thing with haircuts. And, what Trey's rocking right now. No, we can get away with it because he's Trey Lance. But there's going to be a point in the next 2 years where he's going to have to come home. He's going to have to go bald. It just is what it is.
Oh, my God.
You can't be receipting like that, dog. I'm sorry. You're my guy. You're my quarterback, man. I can't have you looking like that, Trey. Come on, man. I don't know what's going on up top. I don't know what's going on, man. Somebody save him. I got a barber for him. My guy, Pat. Pat, what's up, man? Sacred Heart Cathedral won their first game. Antoine Evans was good. He can hook you up. So, you don't have to, you can be secure. But it is what it is.
I'm saying that's what people...
Craig Mack knows.
That's what people go on Twitter for. That's the only reason that people go on Twitter, so they can insult somebody that's of higher stature than them because it makes them feel better. It's like, well, Trey Lance is the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, but he has bad hair, though, so I'm going to make fun of it. Come on, man. I just welcome to the NFL. That's what it is. We always
make fun of hair.
That's what social. That's
we make fun of hair all the time. LeBron James was making fun of his hair forever.
Kind of just did it with Lubman at the break.
Yeah, Lubman right now looks like a dude named Bartholomew. What the hell has he got going on?
Barnaby, I guess.
Yeah. Bartholomew's.
Remember when Trey Young had the whole Trey is balding? The whole New York crowd was just chanting at him.
My goodness.
That's what we do. Now, when it comes to my lining, man, I look at it every day like, damn, what's going on these thin edges here, man? The soft spots. It's important. It's important. That's all. Trey's just going to have to come home. It's okay. Come on, man. I'm not going to go in there on Twitter and be like, yo, Trey Lance got a bad haircut, but you're going to have to come home.
He does look a lot better with the headband. The one that they have in all those team pictures with the headband that's kind of pulling it all back. I will say that.
So maybe he has to wait for a second contract because we talk about how much linings cost now. I mean, he ain't got the money to get a haircut.
I mean, haircuts are expensive.
They are
They're very expensive.
They can be worth it though.
There's nothing better than a better.
Tell me your confidence isn't at its peak right after you get a haircut.
I've got tweets saying that, hey man, you walk out the barbershop, man, you feeling like $1 million.
You really do.
With $5 in the bank account.
You really do.
Don't matter.
You take a look. You go in your car. You take a look in the rearview mirror.
Everything feels better.
Then you go to sleep. The next day you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, I got a haircut yesterday, and you feel good about it.
Feel real good.
That confidence
through the roof
for I don't know, maybe week and a half, and then after that it's like, oh man, all right, when do I got to get back?
Right. Trey got to get. We got to hook Trey up. We got to hook Trey up. We got to hook him up.
It's just like we always ask, like, what's your welcome to the NFL moment? Trey Lance is going to be like, my welcome to the NFL moment is when I got up to the podium for the first time and people commented on my hair. For the first time in the 2022 season. He's been up there before.
Yeah, he has. Brock Purdy, will he be at the podium? Ooh. John Lynch confirmed this yesterday.
Brock has earned his way on our roster, so he'll be on the roster as well on the 53.
Larry Krueger somewhere is fist pumping because Brock Purdy is made the number 3 quarterback. However, what was crazy is that if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't sign, and even the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo hater has to admit, Brock Purdy is your number 2 quarterback going into Chicago. Yeah, it's kind of good Jimmy's back. And then let's just keep
it is, yeah.
You could be the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo hater out there. Would you really want Brock Purdy as your number 2 going into Chicago?
Well, I also think the reason that they brought Brock Purdy back, though, was because he was the better of the 2 between him and Nate Sudfeld. I'll say that for Purdy. He was the better of the 2. And who's to say the Niners aren't a little bit skeptical about Jimmy's health and what's going to happen through the season? Like, maybe they think, oh, well, this is going to be a necessity here. Like, if we go to Jimmy Garoppolo, let's just say we have to go to him early out of necessity. Then what if he gets hurt? What are we stuck with here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if Trey gets hurt and Jimmy gets hurt, you're in for a disaster. And I personally don't think that. I mean, we just saw Nate Sudfeld get picked up by the Lions in place of David Blough or whatever it is. And he just had a great game in the preseason. Like, did you see the Hard Knocks? I mean, I don't want to spoil anything.
Because I only watched 20 minutes of it.
Right, but it's like if you watch David Blough, that was the first time I saw this news this morning. I thought, man, they really cut this dude. Kind of ruined the next episode of Hard Knocks. But
there's one more after this, huh?
But point being, they were willing to sign Nate Sudfeld. I think somebody would have signed Brock Purdy. So they wanted to keep him on the roster. I get it. Like, I get it.
Here's what Shanahan said yesterday about, let me know when we get Phil Simms. This is what Shanahan said yesterday about Jimmy dealing with the pressure last year, and he expects with Trey to deal with the same pressure.
Jimmy dealt with that from the drama, as you say, outside of the building. He dealt with that every single game last year because we drafted a young guy. So every time we lost, he heard it. It was from the narrative and everybody, because that's the position. It's the quarterback's fault, or it's whatever. And Jimmy had to deal with that for a long time. I don't think that affected us last year in that case. And I think we persevered through a lot of stuff and just tried to do what was best on the field. And I don't see any difference this year. We feel very strongly given the keys to Trey. We felt that at the end of last year. We were really excited what we thought that could do for our team as a whole, and we're excited about everything he's done and all these opportunities he's gotten throughout this offseason. And I can't wait to get him started on our team in week 1. And having Jimmy there as a backup makes us feel really good because we have a starting quarterback as a backup. The rest of the league had a chance to get him, and I'm just feel so fortunate that he's still here in that case. And in no way has that hurt our team. It's only helped our team.
That was Kyle Shanahan, of course, talking about the pressure. And with that, let's welcome in Uncle Phil. That's right, our uncle here on the Morning Roast. We love having Phil Simms on the year, 2-time Super Bowl champion, of course, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Pro Bowler now on Inside the NFL. Of course, you see him on CBS for the pregame shows, and he's got thoughts we already know. So, Phil, good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Roast. We're excited to have you back as football season is about 8 days away. Bills, Rams, that'll kick off the season. Phil, I got to ask you right off the rip. When you saw the Jimmy Garoppolo news that he restructured his contract with the 49ers, what was your initial thoughts when you saw the news?
I was not shocked. Maybe a little surprised, whatever you want to say in that regard. But I think that, sooner or later, you guys have heard all this. I'm sure you've said it 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers, no matter what, I looked at them all off season during this preseason as a team that, am I going to pick them to go to the Super Bowl or lose in a championship game or something like that? Because I think the roster's that good. So anytime, and I say this not only about the 49ers, about every team in the league, which I don't think they put enough into the thought process of the backup quarterback. And when you have a good roster and your window of opportunity is there, you got to buy some insurance. And, hey, you can say whatever, Brock Purdy, great career at Iowa State, all these other things, but is he going to be the guy that comes in case something happens that doesn't go well, your quarterback gets hurt, and still take the team and accomplish what you want? And the answer, of course, is no. So when I heard Mr. York talking about we'd love to have Jimmy back, watching the preseason, just seeing that, I never really thought there was a team out there that was going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I know every quarterback situation, got to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. All you got to do is look at ESPN. Got to trade, got to get him, got to get him. And, they act like these trades are so, we're going to do it. My point being, I didn't think he would be traded. I couldn't see the team that was going to reach out there for him. And in the end, it worked out great for the 49ers.
So you weren't shocked. We were all shocked because we heard all offseason, hey, we're looking for a trade partner. And I agree with you, Phil. Once he had the surgery March 8th, about a month and a half after the season, I thought there's no way a team's going to trade for him when you know he can't throw a football until late June, maybe early July. How are you going to take a chance like that with a new playbook, a new team? So I didn't think he was going to get traded either, but I am shocked that he didn't get cut or released with the way the 49ers, their dialogue all off season, Phil. So I'm a little surprised that you're not surprised that he is back. But I agree with the Brock Purdy stuff. You can't walk into week 1 with him as your number 2.
Of course, my opinion changed as the off season went along, and we got into training camp and preseason football. And there's so many things there. Everybody acts like, if Jimmy Garoppolo is traded to Cleveland, he'll be ready to start next week. Let's give it a little credit here about pro football. It's a little harder than that. Even for quarterbacks to go in, learn systems, get adapted to all the players and everything else, that's tough. So, but again, when I heard the fact that as the preseason after week 1, whatever, I just started thinking. Then I started feeling different and hearing different about what the 49ers. Once Mr. York said, we would love to have him back, I went, this is the first little domino to fall that made me think, okay, they are thinking about bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't like nicknames a lot of times. So
how do you like the Uncle Phil
nickname? Jimmy Garoppolo deserves it. He went to a Super Bowl. He went to a championship game. And he can have a nickname because that's pretty good accomplishments right there.
Yeah, one of the talking points, Phil, was now with the addition of Jimmy that this could cause some issues in the locker room. And I want to ask you, is there any truth to that, or is that just something that the media and maybe certain segments of the fan base, maybe that's just a narrative they try to create that really just isn't reality?
No, that narrative is real. I lived it. It is. Anytime there's any question about your quarterback, players are going to talk about it, and they're going to have opinions, and they're going to have, he's my favorite, I want this one, things like that. So that talk will be in the locker room. You can't avoid it. And, for Trey Lance, it's not the greatest scenario going into this season for him. Of course it's not. But if he's tough, which he is, and, you got to be mentally really tough and just go. And don't worry about it. Don't worry, he's back there behind me if I don't play well. Well, if you have those thoughts at all, trust me, as a quarterback, then you have no chance. But I don't know Trey Lance, but I know he's plays hard. He must love football because he's in great shape. He works hard at it, all those things. So the opportunity, you look at the schedule, there's a great opportunity, I think, for him to get off to a really good start, to quiet everything down. And we won't talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, of course, until the 49ers lose or Trey Lance doesn't play the way we want him to.
Right.
Things like that. Of course, you guys know that.
Oh, no doubt about that. Phil Simms on the Morning Roast right now. Of course, 2-time Super Bowl winner inside the NFL. It's NFL on CBS. Phil Simms knows all. He does it all. He's been in this game. So take us through the controversy that you went through, because you were in New York City, and we know how that media market is. It is rabid. You're playing under Bill Parcells. There's probably a lot of friction there. Take us through. How did you navigate through the adversity of a quarterback controversy?
Well, the controversy really kind of came through. The big one for me was after we won the Super Bowl, and I was hurt for it, and Jeff Hostetler won. So the following, that off season, all during training camp, everything, that's all that was talked about. And I heard players, my teammates talking about it in the locker room, and, it just wasn't a great situation. And, look, I'll be honest, I didn't make it a great situation sometimes either, because, you're combative, you want the job, all these other things, and can't read the paper. And, of course, at training camp, you got to listen to the fans, too, and how they react to you. And sometimes you can't let that bother you either, because, I would just say overall the opinion was everybody wanted Jeff Hostetler because we just won the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so that situation. But I knew the players were talking about it. I heard coaches talking about it. Guys would say things to me. I just go, oh, wow, you guys are talking about this at night? And that's when you know it does affect the football team, and it's going to be talked about. There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, this is what I worry about, because I do want to ask you about Trey's mechanics and how he looked in the preseason and what you saw, because I know you break down all the film. But that's the one thing that I'm interested in, because the Deebo Samuels, the Brandon Ayuks, the George Kittles, the Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyks, Fred Warners, Nick Bosa's, they won a lot of big games with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I just worry that if the Niners do get off to a slow start, and I think Trey Lance is going to be a fantastic quarterback. I'm high on Trey Lance, Phil. We had the conversation last year where I thought he should have started week 1, and you tried to check me and say he wasn't ready yet. But I do wonder if he gets off to a slow start, that the Deebo Samuels of the world are going to be like, you know what? We won a lot of big games with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that chatter starts to happen. I worry about the young man in Trey Lance there. That could break anybody.
Well, look, not to go against you, but that talk, of course, is going to be there. And there's nothing you can do about it, really. And if this is, as you say, shatters his confidence, it does whatever you want to talk, it's really going to, then he's not the man.
Yeah.
Listen, almost every quarterback is going to go through some unbelievably tough times. I mean, everybody's not going to live the charmed life of Patrick Mahomes with great talent, great coaching, players around him and all that. So there's always going to be, tension, conflict, whatever. And you got to handle that. And is it easy? No, it's not. And but I just, of course, you guys know better than me. I watch all the San Francisco 49er games, preseason, regular season, but I don't watch it as intently probably as you, because this is what you're talking about all the time.
Right.
But we know this for sure, right? We haven't even seen the Trey Lance game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to see it, next week in Chicago, and we're going to see it in Seattle. And then, we'll have an idea what they really want to do, willing to do, and all the new plays they have installed that they haven't shown anybody yet. That's going to come out, and I think it's going to give Trey Lance a great opportunity to get off to a good start and quiet everybody down.
What did you see from Trey Lance this preseason, Phil, as you were breaking down the film? I know he had a limited amount of possessions to work with, but what did you see from Trey this preseason?
Sometimes preseason, playing in some that where it went well, not well, but whatever. You're not game planning, maybe just a little bit. But I saw so many, I'll just say this real quick, so many quarterbacks around the league, backups and third stringers came into games, and, I said, God, are these teams game planning for these preseason games? Because these quarterbacks, this is maybe one of the best off seasons or preseasons I've ever watched, where quarterbacks just had outstanding games and moments and things like that. But just to go to Trey Lance, look, is he a naturally gifted passer of the football? No, he is not. But I've always said this and believe it. And Jalen Hurts, you name guys, when you stay in the NFL, every year you got to be a better passer of the football. Mm-hmm. Now, Trey Lance can throw. We know that. He's got a strong arm and all that. But he's got to control it more. And in the NFL, for quarterbacks, you got to be dead-eye accurate on all those short throws to make easy catches so they can get extra yards and things like that. And his throwing was, I would say, not, if I'm just going to judge, I'm being fair, I'm being honest, it was not good during the preseason. It just wasn't good enough. Too many balls that got away from him a little bit, off target, not perfect spirals, things like that. And the only thing that's going to correct that is practice and time on the field to get him more comfortable in an offense that's going to be more relying on the pass than he had at North Dakota State. So that's just some thoughts. But, you didn't draft him at the third pick of the draft because you thought he was just a great passer of the football. Mm-hmm. You drafted him for so many other reasons, too. Big, physical, can run, strong arm, leader of men, smart, all that. Those are things that you kind of look for, too. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles this whole situation. I believe he'll get off to a really good start, and it'll quiet everybody down.
I hope so, Phil. Phil Simms on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game, two-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, of course, Inside the NFL, and, of course, NFL on CBS every single Sunday and sometimes Saturday as well. Phil Simms knows quarterbacks as well as anybody out there. So how do you feel the Niners handled the Jimmy Garoppolo situation? Because a lot of people are discussing that out here, Phil. The way they navigated, it feels like, and I'll say this, I'm 39 years old. I remember when the Giants, when you were on the sidelines and you guys beat the Niners at Candlestick Park. I remember the 7-3 game on Monday Night Football. This situation, to me, was one of the more bizarre situations I've ever seen, with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing on the side field, Niners basically saying, hey, we may trade this guy. How do you think the organization handled this situation?
Well, it's easy. We're all geniuses after the fact, of course, and they didn't handle it well. I just can't imagine that if I was a young starting quarterback and the job is yours and all this other stuff, but we got this guy over here throwing that's done all this good stuff in the NFL, won a lot of games for us. He's just going to work out. It's just strange, and it had to be uncomfortable at times. But here's what we all know why they did this, because they were trying to create a great market for him out there, and I'm sure, and I maybe during the off season thought, well, sooner or later maybe Jimmy Garoppolo will get traded to a team and give him a chance to be the starter and a franchise guy once again somewhere else. But as time went on, of course, that started to change. Then I start really looking at the other teams. Is there a sense of urgency to bring him in here? I never really saw that with any teams, and none. Right. Not Seattle, not Cleveland. Who else was out there?
Carolina, Washington, but Washington made the move for Carson Wentz once they knew Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt and wasn't throwing the football until late June, early July.
Yeah, so, that Carolina, I always knew or thought that Baker Mayfield was the guy they wanted to try to get a hold of. They finally did. They just waited it out and got him at what they wanted to pay for him and not what, the Cleveland Browns wanted. So it worked out for, I think, both teams when you talk about Baker Mayfield.
Phil, Trey is going to have a very short lease among the fan base. I mean, if he has one bad game against Chicago, then people are already going to be calling for Jimmy Garoppolo. But with Jimmy waiting there as a backup quarterback and Kyle Shanahan saying, look, I got 2 starting quarterbacks on my roster, where's the disadvantage in that? How long of a leash do you think the team will give Trey Lance to perform this season before they think about going to Jimmy G?
Well, listen, I'd say to Trey Lance, welcome to the NFL, big man. Here we go, and this is part of it. And I know everybody and you guys talk about it. It's easy. It's easy to say, kind of hard to do. Don't listen to the radio. Don't read the paper. Hell, don't even go to the supermarket. Have somebody else go for you because you don't want to hear it. It's whatever's out there. But I think he'll have time to establish himself. Surely they're not going to judge this. And look, the fans, of course, are going to judge it by the end of the first quarter of the Chicago Bear game. We're going to know the answer. Yeah. I can already tell.
Every throw, Phil. Every throw.
Oh, my God, he's going to be dissected. I just love preseason football. Oh, in practice today, he was 6'11", but he threw an interception. The offense just doesn't look. Oh, my God, shut up. Shut up. I love people to go to one practice and, well, their season's over. Practice terrible today. Oh.
Let me ask you something about this, because I left training camp. I went on vacation. And I was watching from afar all the reports and everything to kind of stay afloat with the 49ers. And when did it jump the shark? Because I've never seen a preseason like this where everybody, oh my gosh, this guy looked bad in the preseason. Oh, they're going to stink. Oh, this throw. Like, it's the preseason. How vanilla is the preseason when you play? Like, Jerry Rice was on the other day. He said, hey, we took the preseason seriously. However, we still installed vanilla game plans. I think it's all jumped the shark. Practice stats. Preseason
oh my
football.
God! Practice stats. Just listen. Just get the newspaper, roll it up, and hit me in the back of the head. Okay. My God, these practice stats. Listen. That's what we've turned into. And I'm not a big numbers guy. I don't watch them that much. I do it all by feel. He throws this. He's great under pressure. Well, you're great under pressure when you're a really good thrower and you have good receivers who can beat the coverage or whatever. Yeah, that makes you really good under pressure, things like that. All this stuff I hear, the numbers, but that's what we've turned it into, strictly that. Not any feel for really how you played and what went on and why the numbers are what they are. So, drives me crazy a little bit, but again, that's what we live in. You turn the TV on right now, and any station, sports station, and somebody's going to go, well, on third down and 5 and less, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't care. I just don't care. So I always say this, too. When I judge them coming out of college, I'm not right all the time.
Right.
And, of course, I'm wrong a lot. But I never know and don't care what the team's record is. I don't know the quarterback's numbers. All of his quarterback rating, his QBR, turn to Fox if you want to hear the whatever about all the his QBR in the fourth quarter is just not good. Whatever. I don't care. I judge the guy. I don't care who the head coach is. I'm not drafting the coach or the players of the system. I'm just a player.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey,
and that way it doesn't cloud my mind. I'm surely, and especially for college players, I mean, I understand you give it a glance, but I'm sure not going to judge it off of numbers in college. My God.
Yeah.
There's such a discrepancy in talent in a lot of games. It's not like the NFL where every week your butt can lose if you go out there and don't play well. So
no doubt.
That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, Phil Simms on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Look, let me ask you this, because you've been in that situation with Hostetler.
Wait, I don't mean to interrupt you, but man, my heart's beating fast. I'm getting riled up here.
Hey, Phil, that's what happens every time you come on here. You need to join us every single week.
Wait, what was it? Let's see. Was it? Let's see. When we were out there, when y'all were yelling at me about the draft.
Yeah. Oh, Mac Jones, Trey Lance.
That was a great draft for me because I was down in Miami, or went on the radio station down there. And they kind of knew where I was going. And I said, I would take Justin Herbert, not even a question. In fact, I said, I would take him at the first pick of the draft. I would have taken him over Joe Burrow. It's really, really close when I did it. And so I got off the radio. So I called the host, Joe Rose. The next day, I said, Joe, how'd it go? He goes, oh, Phil, it was awesome. I said, oh, good. I'm glad it went well. And I said, what were the phone calls like? He says, they crushed you.
well,
and I said, that's why I went on, because I knew they would, and it'd make good radio, and I gave my opinions, and of course, the fans just crushed me.
Let me give this comment to you, Phil, before we ask you another question. Our boy Tyler Miller, he's one of our day one roasters. He's basically saying Phil Simms is a nerd. He doesn't like what you're saying right now, so you're pissing off Tyler Miller right now.
Who's a nerd?
You are. He's calling you a nerd.
Oh, Tyler, who in the hell are you? Calling me a nerd. I'll tell you what, how old are you, Tyler?
He's probably about 30. He's a big diehard Niner fan, man. That's like what you said. Doesn't agree with your opinion. So just give you some insight on what's going on our show with our roasters, because we're live on Twitch and YouTube. So next time, Phil, we do this, we got to get you via Zoom on YouTube and Twitch so we can all see your face. Yeah.
You know what? I got to tell you, listen. Nothing you can say will upset me, but Tyler calling me a nerd, I'm going to tell you. Tyler, just for you saying that tells me that you are.
Oh, boy.
You got me?
Oh, you gotcha.
He listen, for anybody to call me a nerd, he must be a nerd. I don't know.
let me ask you this, Phil. Let me ask you this. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo's going to be holding the clipboard, right? We know that.
Right.
So, and I've been in locker room dynamics before, like just not on the pro level or even the college. So I'm not going to go there. But, how can you root for the guy in front of you when he is essentially taking your job?
Well, that's the same. We've talked about Trey Lance so much and everything how he's going to handle it mentally and everything. And the same goes for Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he knows the situation. I think he'll be extremely relaxed because he knows most likely the only thing he can be is the star that comes in and rescues the team. But otherwise, you try to take a different approach. And this, people say this all the time, but I really mean it about him. The situation he is in is really so good for him right now that he can really support, Trey Lance. And I don't know Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if I've ever talked to him. But the fact that I think he's just that kind of guy that will be somebody that Trey Lance can talk to, and it will help him and say little things that only maybe quarterbacks know about how to play, and it can help Trey Lance out.
Phil, just hypothetically here, let's just say whether, Trey Lance plays poorly or possibly gets hurt and Jimmy Garoppolo has to come in. I mean, doesn't the lack of having a training camp and an offseason to work with his players, having the shoulder surgery, not being able to throw really until late July, I mean, isn't that going to hamper him into the regular season? Or if he does end up playing, should we expect the same Jimmy after all of that?
Well, there might be a little adjustment for him, but he'll catch on pretty quick because he has great experience. And he's had success on the field and all that, so that gives you confidence. And sometimes, you maybe not even ready physically, but you're so confident mentally and all this other stuff that, you're like, hey, I can't play bad.
Right.
You can be that way sometimes. I didn't feel that way very often, but every once in a while, like, man, I feel pretty good. This is going to work out well tonight. But it will take a little bit for him, but again, he's not going to get the job right away. That's for sure, we know. Yeah. And I think two things would have to happen for Trey Lance to be taken out. Forget the injury part, but they're going to have to lose and he's going to have to play bad. You're going to need both of those, I think, scenarios before they decide we got to make that switch. Because I think it'll take a lot for them to make a switch, But the one thing they've done, at least they gave themselves some insurance in case there's an injury to Trey Lance somewhere down the line.
All right, quick two-part, couple questions here before we let you go, Phil. And we do appreciate the time, man. You're always fascinating.
Well,
with this,
I
man,
figured, I got to even this show out, so you had to get a nerd on the line. So here I am. Because you guys, everybody out there is so cool.
No, man, you got to come out here, hang out with us out here in California, man. You got jaded out there in New York City, man. They beat you over the head, Phil. You can get some love out here on the West Coast. But look, I got a quick question about Nick Bosa, but first I'm going to ask you about Brian Griese, the quarterback coach. I know you're into it. I always see this clip, man, when you're asking about Bruce Arians, the quarterback coach, when he was in Indianapolis. You're like, who's this quarterback coach? So what's your thoughts on Brian Griese taking the job? Because that kind of came out of nowhere, where he's now coaching the quarterbacks straight out of the booth. What's your thoughts on Brian Griese?
Well, I think it's great. I really do. I mean, listen, my wife she's died down a little bit in the last, about a month ago. She goes, I'm still kind of upset you never coached. And I just said, wow, really? So I would have been a head coach, I feel confident, sooner or later. And I said I'd have been fired about 3 times, and I would be even angrier than I am now. And, so coaching it's a really tough world or whatever, but I love it when ex-players go in there, quarterbacks like Brian. He's telling those quarterbacks and showing them things that they've never heard before. So because he played the position, great experience, success, all that, and it is good to have somebody in the room that's played the position that will understand what you're going through, physically, mentally, everything like that. So I'm sure it's going well, and I would think Brian is, man, if you love football, when you start you have to coach, and you just focus on that one thing, it's a tremendous job, and I know he'll do a great job out there in San Francisco.
All right, last one for you, Phil, and we got to run here, but we appreciate the time. You played with Lawrence Taylor. You play with Carl Banks, play with Carson. You play with some great, great players, Pepper Johnson. Who does Nick Bosa remind you of? Because he's looking like a generational talent right now.
Oh, my God. Well, I guess I would have to say he reminds me a little bit of Lawrence Taylor, because he's so explosive and so fast around the corner. And, you always hear this saying about great rushers, they can bend. I mean, he can put his shoulder on the ground and still run full speed. That was what made Lawrence. Lawrence was not a workout king like Bosa is, that's for sure, but he was such an unbelievable athlete. He could play any sport, great basketball player, picked up golf, 2-handicapper, things like that. But Lawrence just could twist his body and run full speed no matter where it was, and that Nick Bosa has a little of that in him, and that's what you always hear it in the draft. Oh, he's a bender, this kind of stuff, but it really is true, and it's really valuable. And man, quarterbacks, thank God they changed a lot of rules and all that, because if they didn't, I know it's a quarterback-driven league and they get a lot of stuff, but if they didn't make these rules, the Nick Bosas of the world would be knocking these guys out every week. And the NFL doesn't want that. So
wow, Phil, we're gonna do this.
You got to protect them,
no doubt. We got to do this again very, very soon. Week 1's coming up. We got the Bills and Rams next Thursday night, and of course the Niners traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears at Soldier Field. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Legend.
It's gonna be a lot of fun here, Phil. We always appreciate the time, your insight, and everything. And hey, look, man, if you're a nerd, it's okay. Nerds are cool.
Well, listen, when I get out there, you got to introduce me to Tyler. I want to see him.
Oh yeah, he comes by. He comes by. Oh yeah, he'll come by too.
Once I meet Tyler and he's 6'4", rocked up, and says, "What do you want?" And I go, "Nothing. Just good to meet you."
Well, you might be surprised. Tyler Miller's our guy, but I don't think he's 6'4". Phil, we'll talk soon, brother.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
No problem. Phil Simms. We'll react to that.